Hey everyone, hopefully you're doing well today. I am back with another video. This one is actually on the GHD and some exercises that you can do for the posterior chain. As I go through, I'm going to explain them, what they actually work, as well as how you should set this up to get into the position for that. So by no means is this all the drills or all the exercises you can do on the GHD, but I found that these, for me, are the most effective. As you know, I've got this about, 2 months ago. It's a big piece. It does take up a lot of space, but for me, I really do like it a lot. So thanks for joining me today. If you haven't subscribed by now, please do so. And as usual, I do have the chapters in the description. So let's do it. First exercise we're going to do is the hip extension, not to be confused with the back extension because they're a little bit different as far as the exercise is concerned. So for the setup, depending on your GHD, for me, it's actually 3 from the back because I am 6 feet tall. You're going to want your hip to be just right over the crest of the pad here. So I already have it set up just to make it a little bit quicker. But obviously you're going to put your feet in here, hold on to your supports here if you need that. Come straight out. And as you can see, my hip is right across from there. The way that you do the exercise is you are going to basically create an L and just hinge at the hip. So put your hands across your chest, hinge at the hip, come back up to parallel. Same thing, hinge just right at the hip, come straight back up. You get some really good glute activation and you get some good hamstring activation from this. If you want to make it a more dynamic movement, you could definitely do so. But that is the hip extension. So now we got the back extension, which is basically the same type of movement, but it's a little different setup. It's not as dynamic of a movement of making it. For me, this one's a little bit harder because I am taller. So for the most part, for me, I have to put it all the way back. So for the setup on this one, you want to make sure your hip is on top of the pad here. So it doesn't work exactly for me the way that I want it because I'm a little bit taller, but it's really close. I think if you're like 6'3" or 6'4", this is not going to necessarily work for you. So basically you can see the setup. My hip is almost on top here. Technically, if the GHD went back a little bit farther, this is where I should be, but I am too tall for this. So same setup here, hands across your shoulders, but you're going to think about doing more of a cocoon. So leading with the head first, and then bringing your body down kind of like a cocoon, curling up, and then doing the opposite. Coming back up. So I'll show you that again. Leading with the head first, head down, coming in, and then curling back up the opposite direction. That is the back extension, and I could definitely feel that more in my lower back than I can in my hamstrings and my glutes, versus the hip extension, which is definitely more hamstring and glutes. So hopefully you get the difference on that. If you don't, let me know some questions. Like I said, this one's just a little bit harder for me because it doesn't go back far enough for my setup being tall. So if you're a taller athlete than me, it's definitely going to be limiting for this exercise. So I moved my GHD a little bit because I have my air conditioning up here. The next one is probably what people get the GHD the most for besides GHD sit-ups, and it is the glute ham raise. So for this, for the glute ham raise, I typically am about 4 from the back. For this one, you want to make sure that your knees are basically down here and pushing against the pad. You do not want your knees up here because that is not the right starting position. Plus, it will actually hurt your knees. So this one is probably one of the toughest ones to start. As soon as you kind of get used to it, it's not that bad. And then you can start adding some weight. And then I will show you a variation when you start to use the band. So I'm going to start with the band first, just so you can get a good idea. So just remember, with the band, I just put here, I actually just wrapped it around the back. I'm not sure if you could actually see that. Depending on what band you have, it will work. Depending on the strength and your weight. I'm going to just step through the band right there, put my feet in, and I'm going to show you the setup first. So remember, my knees are against the pad here. I'm not sure if you can really see me, but your starting position is going to be straight up and down. Make sure your knees are there, and you're going to try to keep a flat as back as possible. You're not going to start here. You're going to start with out, straight out, not lead with the hip. You're going to keep a straight body here. Try to keep straight. Down to parallel, and then back up. I'm starting with the band because this is probably going to be the easiest for everybody. So if you just put it around your waist like this, kind of like a belt, and you hold it with two hands, you could create some resistance by pulling or pushing, depending on the position that you're in, to do these. So I'm just going to show you that. I'm going to hold the band out here. I'm going to keep as straight as possible, go down the parallel, and back up. So that's actually really nice, or you could do negatives with it. So I can't do negatives. I'm not going to use the band, but I'm going to go straight down there, go to parallel, and then grab onto the handles here. If I can't do it, bring myself back up. I'm going to show you a little bit easier. Another example without the band, because that's how I do them now, unless I have one set that I'm just kind of struggling with. So typically, just one key. You don't want to have bad form on this. You don't want to put your back like that, because it kind of hurts your back after a while. So if you start having bad form, just stop, give yourself a break, work your way up to it, because these ones are killer for the hamstrings. I'm just going to pull my shorts up here for a second. I know, show my legs. Just so you can see, without the band, I'm going to be working the hamstring here, and I'm going to be working the glute. So I'm getting my starting position. There. Straight up. I'm going to come down. Keep my back as flat as possible. Then come back up. Sometimes when I'm getting tired, I tend to do this here. Right? My back wasn't straight. That's not the way to do it. So starting position. Back flat. Keep the back flat. And pull up. You do get some activation in your calves as well. Huge hamstring, huge glutes, and one of my favorite exercises. So hopefully I helped you. This is the machine to get it for, and it's really helped my deadlift as well. So that is the glute ham raise. So I know now this is not necessarily what this is made for back extensions or reverse hyper, but you can do them on this. You could put a weight in between your feet if you'd like as well. So I use these for reverse hyper back extension style things. So you could set this up any way you want, but basically you're going to want to set this up so you're laying on top of this pad here. And you get on top and hold the back here. And then kick your legs up, right? So this is a really great exercise for lower back pain. So, like I said, you could add weight if you'd like to this. Some people get up here a little bit higher. It depends on really where it's comfortable for you. It's kind of like one of those things where I didn't necessarily adjust that, but I just wanted to show you. You could put some weights in between your feet, do them really slow, but this is really great for lower back pain. So anybody that has lower back pain at all, and you have this machine, this is something that you should be doing every single day. 10, 15 reps, slow. You could also do it laying on a table or laying on the end of the couch and having your legs over and just doing mini reps like that. So while this is not necessarily intended for that, I wanted to show this exercise because if you have this machine, it's definitely doable. Is a reverse hyper better? Yes, absolutely. Because of the motion and because of the way it's supposed to be set up. But you can do that on here in a small form factor. There you go. So there's the back extension, reverse hyper, whatever you want to call it. So last but not least, probably everyone's favorite, besides mine, which is the GHR, is the GHD sit-up. You could actually do these sit-ups slow, or you could do them CrossFit style, however you'd like. So the setup for me is about 3 from the back. When you sit on here, you want to make sure that your butt's just like kind of like on the downside of the end of the pad here. You don't want it too high. You don't want it too low. So when you get in here and you set up, you obviously put your feet in as normal. And then you're going to have your legs, your knees just at a little bit of bend. And you can see that my butt is just going down to the end of the pad here. So when you go down, your knees are going to stay bent. I'm just going to show you how to do this. And then when you come up, normally you'd want to really get it from here, but you're going to think about pushing the knees down. It'll be easier to see when I show you. So as I go down, my back is here, my knees are bent, and then bend the knees back up, push the knees down into the pad. It's kind of the easiest way for me to describe it, and bring it back up. So you could also just do regular sit-ups on this as well. Some people don't necessarily like the dynamic movement of the GHD sit-up, which is totally fine. And I actually find these to be killer. For me, without the GHD sit-up, I'll usually put it one spot to the front, and then I will typically put a weight in my hand, but I'm going to show you without it. So get in the normal position, and you should do these slowly. So get in your position here, and then you're going to come down like a normal sit-up, but you're going to do them slowly. And then when you come up, you're going to curl like you're bringing like the cocoon that we showed it earlier in the back extension, and bring it up. And trust me, if you do these slow and you really think about crunching and getting up, they are going to be killer. So there's 2 variations of GHD sit-up, the CrossFit one, non-CrossFit one. If you take it slow for the non-CrossFit one, trust me, they are going to hurt big time. All right, so there's the GHD sit-up. So there you go, GHD. 5 exercises you can do. There's a couple more like Sorensen and hold and a couple other ones that you can actually do. I really like this machine. It is big. It is definitely heavy, and you have to have a spot for it, but it is well worth it. And for me, it's really helped out my hamstrings and my glutes for deadlifting, and helped out my abs too. I'll be honest, like doing abs on the GHD, the last one I showed you here, doing it slow, they're hard. They're like super hard for me. So I appreciate you checking me out today. My video, hopefully it helps you, especially with the setup, because I know it can be confusing, because I was confused when I first got this. This is Christmas, so Merry Christmas to all you out there that do celebrate. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and give my channel a like and my video. So have a great day and take care, y'all. See you on the next one.